Welcome to 100 Power Tips to Set You Free 2.0 Next Level Podcast. I am your host, Coach Paul Ibarra. We talk all things mindset, all things kingdom, and everything that you need to reach your next level. So hit that subscribe, share this out with your friends and family, and let's get started. Yo, what's going on? Coach Paul here. This is Wednesday morning, and we are about to activate you to your next level. Are you willing to compromise when God has given you the confidence to do something, even if that very compromise could destroy you or your business, maybe even your ministry? On today's episode, I'm going to show you how the power of staying obedient ties directly into your business, your lifestyle, and your ministry, why it matters, and the steps you must take to reach your optimal level and elevate your mindset with everything that you do. So the other day we were reading out of Daniel chapter 6, I believe. Yeah. And so we were talking about how Daniel purposed in his heart to do a thing, how he purposed in his heart, which really means to resolve in his mind, resolve in his heart, resolve in those things that he knows that God has called him to do, right? And so today, setting this up for you and for me as well, we're going to look at Daniel chapter 6 and verse 10. And it says, now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, now this was a decree that was set before the king for anyone who didn't acknowledge the king or that was serving other gods, right? That didn't bow down to him, all of the things. And so this decree was signed. And so when he went home, Daniel knew that it was signed. Daniel knew that he was going to be put to death. And it says, and in his upper room with his windows open towards Jerusalem, he knelt down on his knees 3 times that day and prayed and gave thanks before his God. And that was his custom since early days. Now I want us to catch something really quick. Daniel knew that that decree was signed. He knew the consequence. He knew death was the penalty. And still he went home and kept his kingdom rhythm with no hesitation, no compromise, no panic move. He stayed faithful in the face of threat. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. As you are building content, as you're going to work, as you're working in corporate, as you're building a business, whatever area or lane that you are in, these compromises that come into our life at times can take us off track. But it's that kingdom rhythm that will keep you and I focused, determined, committed, confident, and consistent. You see, when we activate our mindset and when we really look at everything that God has already done in our life, that one little moment of compromise to just tip the scale just a little bit over is going to lead us down a path at times that are going to destroy us, right? And so I want to break that down for us today because I've been in that space. I was in a space last year of just giving up. I was in a space where business wasn't working the way that I expected it to work. So I went a different route. I literally left the rhythm that I was building, left the community I was building. Was I still connected with people? Yes. But I was in a place where I was just frustrated. I was tired. And here's the thing. If you're tuning into this live stream to feel fuzzy and good, then you're really truly not in business. Right? Because business will take you down routes sometimes. Ministry will take you down a route sometimes. Building a better lifestyle will constantly fight you if you're not careful. And this is why, as we come together, we are activating your next level mindset, because that's what it takes. It takes not only just getting your mind focused, but really tapping into the people that you're connected with. Really tapping into the commitment that you have to yourself, to your family, and to those people as well. It takes the community that you are a part of, but the right community. And so in this place where Daniel's at, I'm quite sure that he wasn't just alone. He wasn't the only Jew in this province or province in this place, right? He was governor. Like he was the governor of that land. So there's a lot of things that he knew that he was going to miss. There was a lot of areas of his life that he said, man, if I do this, my head's cut off or I'm going to be thrown into this lion's den. Have you ever been in that position? Have you ever been in that place where you feel like, man, if I do this, my job is compromised. My business can be compromised. The clients that I'm seeking out, I could be compromising all of that stuff, right? So here's where the shift comes into our life. Daniel didn't create a new habit under pressure. He was in that space, but he didn't create a new habit. He stayed true in his integrity to what he knew he had to do. He was trusting God. He relied on the rhythm he built before the pressure came. And this is why it's important that consistency, a consistent routine, a consistent action. Now, I'm not saying that you have to wake up at 5 in the morning and get your day going or 4:30 in the morning. There's some people that are up at 3 in the morning. I used to be that guy. I'm not that guy anymore. 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm up. But there's a certain routine and a certain rhythm that I've created. Sip my coffee, do my stretches, spend time with God, read the word, get ready for a live stream, send my emails out. There's a certain rhythm that has to take place. And this is where consistency comes in, where a lot of people will wonder, why isn't my stuff hitting, right? But he relied on the rhythm he built before the pressure came. Myron Golden says it this way, and I'm not even sure if it's his quote, but amateurs spend all their time performing. Veterans, the old school players, the seasoned players, they spend most of their time practicing, preparing, right? So as you are preparing, you are creating that rhythm. When I go to the gym, it's a rhythm. At least 3 times per week, I'm at Hotworks. I'm diving in. I'm jumping in. I'm doing the thing, right? Because I rely on the rhythm that is making me, helping me get to that next place, right? So kingdom rhythm protects you when external threats rise. And that's where Daniel was. That decree was formed because they knew they couldn't find any fault in Daniel. Not the king, but his men. They knew they couldn't find any fault with Daniel. The only thing that they knew that they could find was that he was not going to stop praying. He was not going to stop serving his God, right? So here's the thing. Your routine becomes your anchor. Your routine becomes your anchor. So here's my question within this question. What do you run back to when pressure hits? Is it obedience or convenience? Have you ever been in that space? I've been in that space. Like I said, I was in that space last year where my obedience and convenience were at a tug of war. It was convenient for me to jump in an Uber and go and spin my wheels because the obedience part of it was a tough place. I was in that space where nothing was clicking, nothing was working. Why? Because I wasn't obedient to the call. I was mixed in so many different things, networking groups and going to network groups and connecting with 1,000 different people. Maybe not 1,000 people, but I think you get the gist. I was in that space of just doing everything that was only external, but not really working on anything internal. And so that's where my journey began. And I was so frustrated that I was driving Uber, and there's nothing wrong with driving Uber. You can make money driving Uber. You can make money doing DoorDash. You can make money doing those things. That's not the issue. The issue was that was not my assignment. And when I finally got to the place of understanding this is not where I'm supposed to be. This is where connection came in. This is where I was literally in my car, and I was at a place where I'm like, I don't want to pick up another person. I don't want to worry about dropping off more food. I didn't want to do all that, right? I didn't want to pick up another airport ride. I didn't want to pick up another I didn't want to deal with nothing, none of that. I didn't want to go out on a Friday night and miss out time with my wife to go and pick up some drunk people at a bar. I didn't want to do that anymore. And I literally texted somebody through a voice message. And I said, hey, be praying. I said, because I just feel like this is not where I'm supposed to be. So that same moment, I answered my own question, and I packed it up and I said, you know what? I'm going home. It was like 5 a.m. I said, I'm going home. I came home. My wife is leaving to work. She said, I thought you were going out to drive. I said, you know what? I'll talk to you about it later. And I literally sat for like 2 days and did nothing and just thought about, like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Where am I headed? And that's when I got the call from a very good friend of mine. Matter of fact, I'm just going to shout her out, Miss Jody Meza. And I remember the moment I was walking at the park right here in Greeley, Colorado, at Glenmere Park, me and my dog, Coda. And she said, Paul, what did God tell you to do 2 years ago? Excuse me. And I said, matter of fact, she said, what did God tell you to do? And me being the joker that I'm like, today? She's like, you know what I'm talking about. And I said, he told me to feed his sheep and he would take care of all the rest. She said, so why aren't you doing it? And that hit my spirit so strong. But see, that's the value of connection. That's the value of community. That is the value of the people that are in your life. Because of the routine, it was my anchor, and I walked away from the routine. I walked away from obedience, and I walked into convenience. And that's not where God wants you and I to be, right? So I want to encourage you today, right? I want to encourage you today to know that the things that seem like they're convenient aren't the things that are going to add to your revenue, right? They are not going to add to your revenue. They're not going to add to your lifestyle. They're not going to add to your business. They're not going to add to any of those things. Okay. So, and this is what happens when fear tries to shift you into compromise. There are times in your life, in your business, where fear hits your doorstep. The situation changes. That's where I was. No money coming in, no clients coming in, no people signing up for my programs, all of the stuff. The situation changed. Clients cancel. The market shifts. Culture, watch this, culture pushes you against your values. Do you have your values? Do you stand on your core values? I'm going to pull up my core values, just saying. All right. And this is something that I wrote years ago, and I had to come back to it. I had to literally come back to it. So my core values is purpose, commitment, consistency, confidence, and accountability. I'll say that again: purpose, commitment, consistency, confidence, and accountability. Because each one of those work hand in hand. So what are your 5 core values? What are your 2 core values? Is it family? Is it lifestyle? Is it faith? Is it ministry? Whatever that is, that's your core value. That creates the routine and the rhythms, the systems and the processes that you live by. You see, when I finally got to the place where I understood my purpose, and there's so many people out there right now that are listening to this that are saying, what is my purpose? I submit to you to understand what your assignment is, because to be on purpose, all you got to do is go back to Genesis 1:26 through 28. Let us create man in our image and in our likeness. Let us give them dominion. Let them be fruitful, multiply, and go subdue the earth. That's simple. That's your purpose. Right? So once I understood that, then I was committed to the assignment. Then I became consistent. That built my confidence, and now I'm accountable to the routine. You see, so many times when we flip this backwards, we're not accountable. Why? Because we're not confident in the calling. So we don't stay consistent and we're not committed because we're constantly trying to seek out our purpose. So don't allow culture to push you against your values, right? Sometimes people tell you, and I've heard it in my head, soften your message. Listen, I only know how to come one way, and the way that God created me. Not so much hard and stupid, but coming with the truth, even when it hurts at times, because that truth that I speak to people at times is the truth that God is speaking to me. So when I see what God is doing in someone else's life and I see my sin in someone else, I can't stand it. So where are you at today? Are you trying to soften your message to be convenient for everyone else? Or are you going after your obedience to build your business the way God has called you to? Listen, I want to share something with you today. Where are we at here? Where's my banner? Where did it go? Where did it go? Um, Here we are. If you need that daily mindset checkup, I want you to head on over, and it's in the description of this video as well, bit.ly/daily mindset check. All right. Now, what that does is it's a 5-question PDF that you download. It's kind of like a journal. You download it, you ask yourself these questions like, where's my mindset today? You just kind of go through it and it'll help organize your mindset. Plus, once you sign up for that daily mindset checkup, you'll also be part of my email list that will get you anything that I have coming down the pipeline, any workshops, any live streams, any of those things that I want to share with you, devotionals, all the things to get your mindset ready every single week, our midweek check-in and our Friday forward. All right. So getting back to my notes, when we look at this here, we also want to understand that trends try to redefine your identity. There's so many trends out there. There's so many things. There's TikToks, there's fan base, there's IG, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's YouTube, there's all these different influencers telling you how to do things, including myself. But here's the thing. Your obedience is going to take you spending time with God. Now I'm talking to my kingdom builders. It's going to take everything in you to spend time with God so that you can stay in that kingdom rhythm, to stay obedient and not follow the convenience, right? Because here's what fear does. Fear starts to creep in and it whispers. And sometimes the enemy will come in, not sometimes, a lot of times the enemy will come in mocking because God's voice is tender, right? The Bible says it wasn't in the earthquake, it wasn't in the hurricane, it wasn't in the whatever, right? That moment that Elijah was with God, it said it was in the still small voice. So that whisper comes in at times. Just follow the algorithm. Just do it their way. Maybe tone it down a little bit. Maybe you got to fit in. Just bend a little bit. But see, this is where we learn from Daniel. Daniel didn't bend. He didn't adjust his devotion to survive the moment. He stayed faithful and God honored it. So as I said, back to Daniel chapter 1 and 8, right? This is what we talked about Monday. On Monday, we looked at Daniel 1 and 8. Daniel resolved in his heart not to defile himself. Here it is. He pre-decided. He built conviction in advance. And today we see that same conviction in action again. He didn't resolve his diet in chapter 1, and he didn't resolve his devotion in chapter 6. Consistency, integrity, promotion, protection. When you're consistent in your routine with God, in your rhythm with God, guess what? Your integrity gets you into the place of promotion, and your promotion gets you into the place of protection. But when you're not obedient, we can't blame God for the things not working out. We can't even blame the devil because the devil is not omnipresent. He's not everywhere. He's not all-knowing. But he's not stupid. He's been doing this for thousands of years, right? So when we look at the beginning of Daniel, this is the The same space where the three brothers and Daniel were in, that space where Daniel said, I'm not going to defile myself with these foods. This is where the three brothers even said themselves, even if God doesn't show up, I will not bow down to this idol, right? We will not bow down. They resolved. And so this is business leadership. This is kingdom leadership. This is identity leadership. Hell or high water, we do not compromise, right? So this week we've been talking about uncompromised discipline. Number one, remember your tribe. What does that mean? Remember where you came from. Remember exactly where you've come from. And I'm not saying beat yourself up because of your past. I'm saying remember where you come from. Remember your people. The right community keeps you aligned. Don't let isolation pull you into compromise. Number two, commit to your journey. Comparison causes drift. Confidence comes from staying in your assignment. Number three, commit your ways to leadership. Consistency inspires followers. Daniel owned his position, so must you. And number four, your rhythm protects your results. Routines ground you, they root you, they keep you established. Disciplines guard your clarity. When you are disciplined to do a thing, it guards the clarity that you know you need to stay on the path. And obedience keeps your strategy clean and God led. And why does this matter for 2026? Here it is. Threats, pressure, culture, trends, and shortcuts aren't going to go away simply because it's a new year, simply because you say, I have this New Year's resolution. They will always try to reshape you. And this is where identity over environment is what Daniel did. He was able to say, I know my identity, but I know the environment that I'm in as well. So Daniel is your model because your obedience is the foundation, watch this, of your elevation. Obedience is the foundation of your elevation. The Bible talks about God saying, I will elevate you among all nations. But what does he say? If you follow my laws, if you follow my precepts. This discipline will fuel your leadership and your success in 2026. So listen, before you jump off, make sure that you're subscribed to this YouTube channel because I'm breaking this down Mondays, Wednesdays, and sometimes Fridays. But I want you to stay connected. I want you to subscribe and stay connected. Plus, I also want you to understand that there is a 3-part series to help you rebuild your rhythm. This is something that I created a few years ago. Okay. This is going to help you reset, gain clarity, and stay focused. This 3-part series, like I said, is going to help you rebuild your rhythm, break out of mental drift, refocus your identity, strengthen your conviction, anchor your leadership, and elevate your mindset and momentum. If you want to know more about that and grab that 3-part series, I want you to head on over, like I said, to this email, to this link here, bit.ly/mindset check. Okay. That is where you're going to be part of my email list. I'm going to start sending out those links and you can get that 3-part series, or you can DM me 3-part series. I'll send you the link and let's get you ready for 2026. All right. So listen, I want to thank everyone who has come in. If you're coming in on the replay, #replay. If you're coming in live, thank you so much for being here over on Facebook and on YouTube. But listen, I love y'all. God bless you. Let's go create some momentum. Let's create those routines. Let's create that rhythm that God has called you to. And let's not settle for convenience. Let's obey and stay obedient. All right. I love y'all. God bless you. We'll see you on the next live.